So, where do I begin? Again. Well, you guys should know my name. I'm not gonna repeat who I am again, since I feel like I've done that multiple times. And I'm basically starting things over again. Dropping everything I was doing before. And in case you ask what led up to this moment, I was basically writing a book that I've been working on for months. Then I got a little carried away, and then the book collapsed under its own weight. And I was so embarrassed and sad by my failure to make it and canceling it that I just deleted all references to a book and just scrapped everything I was doing currently to try and save face as much as possible. This is my new start, so I'm just gonna drop everything and move on. I also have a future set in stone for myself, where basically I wish to become an artist in the future for comics, animation, and stuff. But I also plan on becoming an art teacher, similar to an art class teacher I have this year. I'm basically taking this new direction as in I'll settle for this job. Because being a comic artist, especially one online, is a very unstable job. I've also wanted to have a job on the internet for a long time. However, I couldn't find anything that I thought worked. Plans were created and failed, miscalculations were made, ideas came and went. One of them came pretty far, only to fall on its face before it happens, and stuff that does come out, they don't satisfy me, or they end up faltering. I currently have no plans to make stuff currently. Even if I did, it would be simple vlogs, or I would make like some videos, essay stuff. And like, even if I were to make video essays, I would do it on like weekends or whatever free time I have available, within reason. Because I'm living with family, and they can be very unstable to work with. Not saying that they're bad, it's just that whenever I make a plan, something happens with my family that results in the plan going south. I'm not saying my family's bad, I love them. It's just a little thing that personally annoys me. But regardless of our flaws, I still love them all the same. So, I have a good family life, I'll give you guys that. And as you can see on the vlog channel where I'm recording this video, I would normally name them like vlog number something, or like garbage video number something. But since I deleted a few of my old vlogs that were recent and the numbers may be inconsistent, I'll have to do a new thing. To where I would go vlog, then the date it took place on, or at least the date in which it was uploaded. For a long time, I couldn't decide what I wanted to make of myself or what I wanted to put on YouTube. I mean, I've written a few scripts for what I want to make in the future, and yet some of them aren't viable options, and I'm still trying to decide what I want to do for the internet and YouTube. I mean, I even had to scrap my original art style, and I decided to pivot to a more experimental, visually appealing art style, like Marvel Comics level. So I wish to do Marvel Comics for an art style, or at least a sort of cartoon art style that looks good. I've even written down a whole entire list on this Google document of ideas and stuff I want to do for future videos. Some of them aren't even videos, some of them are like songs, fan fiction ideas. I don't write fan fiction that much anymore, but even if I do nowadays, I would mainly use it to sharpen my writing skills or do it for something I really, really enjoy. I've also written down a video for a Patreon Ko-fi. My Ko-fi's currently public, but As of right now, I have a Patreon account, but that's still in the dark because I don't know what to make of it, and I doubt my work is very good right now, so the Patreon will have to wait for the time being. I also had to scrap a line of weekly comic strips I was trying to make this year, so I could take a break from the internet. This video, it's just me recording memories and just voicing myself. And I mean voicing myself in a positive way, not in a negative way. Just want to make that clear. I'm also the type who constantly needs to be reassured, or even reassure others. Just gotten back from the living room. I just got my HDMI cable for my second monitor back, and the monitor still isn't on. The only one on is the main one, and I had to restart my computer to see if it would come on. Still isn't working, so maybe I'll have to wait on that. While I wait for it to load the Google document, I might as well say a few things about myself. When I make some things, I'm kind of the one who likes to push the bar on what I like to do. Both like raise the bar in terms of quality, but also raise the bar in terms of content. Like when I made this book, I've written it under the impression that I have no boundaries and that I should push the envelope. And that was the reason why the book got canceled, because I pushed the envelope way further than I needed to a point that it pretty much rendered the book unpublishable and undoable. Which is why I decided to delete it and walk away from the internet for like 2 days to save face as much as possible. One of my biggest shortcomings was whenever I try to make a promise, whether it be through me being lazy, my autism, or no fault of my own, and stuff with family, it's guaranteed to falter in some way. And there's the document. Aside from writing YouTube videos, I also written down stuff like video essays, and even a short film based on a poem I written. I've written down a few ideas for future projects, but I'm putting them on hold until I can find the time and/or the money to make them happen. One of them is a Christmas song. I have music theory, so on paper, this idea seems like a safe bet. I even written down a live-action animated hybrid short film where I mix live-action two-dimensional characters animated in a live-action environment. And that's not the only live-action animated short film I have in mind. One of them is literally this one where I've written down something I've wanted to do for a long time. A bathroom scene where someone's hiding in a bathroom, they hear singing, and then a jump scare happens. I've had that in my head for a long time. It came from... Have you guys seen that movie, Parental Guidance, that bathroom scene? That's kind of where the idea stemmed from. I've also written down a stand-up joke video where I do a stand-up comedy thing. I got a good story, I need to work on comedic effect. I've also written down this potential vlog script about why I think the multiverse idea in media is good in my opinion. No guarantee it'll come out. It's just a random thought I had and I've written down. And another one is my introduction for Ko-fi and Patreon. For the latter would have to wait for the time being until I can increase my work quality, find time to do it, and make stuff that look good. And it's not just a Patreon video I've also have scripted and a bunch of animated and video stuff. I've also written down potential ideas to make a movie. Rather than basing it on some of the comics I've made in the past, I've considered doing it with, get this, actual two-dimensional, hand-drawn, hand-painted celluloid sheets. Basically, hand-drawn animation like an old Disney movie, all done with animation cells. No computers, no doing that printer thing where you scan pencil drawings and reproduce them in ink that they did in 101 Dalmatians. It'll be all done by hand, where people draw on paper and then trace over it with a sheet of celluloid with pen and hand paint it. I'm not expecting this to happen right now, but far into the future. The reason why I prefer this over doing it digitally is because no one else has done a traditionally hand-drawn, hand-painted animated film anymore nowadays. Even if we do get a hand-drawn animated film, some of the inking can be done digitally, and the coloring can also be done digitally even. So there is no fully hand-drawn, hand-painted thing. Which is, yeah, what I'm trying to do with this film is recreate the feel of a 1930s, 40s, 50s Disney movie, where everything had to be done by hand. The only digital stuff I would allow would be using a digital camera to capture every frame, because no way I'm gonna find a film camera with actual physical film, like a 35mm. Good luck trying to purchase one. They cost thousands of dollars, and some of them aren't even functional anymore. I've also made this film be a parody of Disney films to where, unlike many Disney films, it would follow the prince rather than the princess. This idea came from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where Snow White gets all the focus, and the prince that we see in the beginning of the film is only used as a plot device and never comes up again until the end of the movie. I've also written down another idea on my list of ideas for future projects for an original live-action movie. I really want to make a live-action movie rather than just an animated one like I would normally steer for, but I just can never think of a way to make a live-action film. I've written down a list of ideas that I wanted to do in a list I call what I have in mind for a movie. School, dark fantasy, not horror. The dark fantasy originated from those AI videos where a computer creates a picture of something if it were from an 80s dark fantasy film. And I've even written it to end on an after credits scene, kind of like those Marvel movies. Though the after credits scenes won't mean much, I'll just leave the ending open-ended to where it can still end there, but in case anyone wants to pick it up for another movie, they're free to. When I first started my Patreon account, it's not public yet, just letting you guys know. I've added things like stuff I've already posted, as well as behind the scenes stuff, like unedited drawings, including PDFs and archives of some of my stuff. I even tried to post on here the attachments margin, files that were used when making the drawings I quickly decided to scrap that idea because, in hindsight, didn't sound like a great idea because, thinking about it, people could just take the files, place them in Fire Alpaca themselves, and just copy my art. So in hindsight, doing that is a bad idea. Thank God I stopped before it happened. And also, some of the vlogs that I made originally are gone. Like one time where I went to YumaCon, I deleted that as damage control over the canceled thing I've written, the canceled book I've written. They're all deleted with no chance of coming back, so don't expect them to resurface anytime soon. The only things to survive the purge were the YumaCon panels I recorded when I was at YumaCon. I spent most of the time in like the panel room, and I was recording various panels. I also got these rabbit ears at the convention. I'm surprised I don't wear these more often. Like, the most stuff I have here on my Patreon were comics that would have otherwise have been released, being scrapped. The main reason I won't release them publicly now is because of the way they were drawn, consisting of recycled artwork and an art style I've retired, because I thought that it sucked now. So if you sign up to look at these drawings, don't expect a masterpiece. I've also included a little archive of some of the literature I've written on DeviantArt. Though, just to remind you guys, most of it is bad. Like the one fanfiction I've written for one of my favorite comic artists on DeviantArt, Pizza Wolf 20, that was like the only fanfiction I've written that I've even remotely liked and had fun writing. And I've also written a Cuphead fanfiction that I thought was good, but I think could have been better. About the Cuphead fanfiction I've written that because I've been waiting so long for new Cuphead content to come out. And I'd basically written that as a way to satisfy myself. And I was unable to finish it before the first Cuphead show trailer came out. But I've written the story around that, ending around that, so all is well, I guess. And I've also made a freaking heck ton of social media accounts. To a point that if you look through my list of social media accounts, you ought to say that I literally have more social media accounts than most major internet users. I literally have a Scratch account that I don't use anymore, but I'm still keeping it anyway for memory's sake. It was a symbol of the times for me. Yeah, a time when I used to make stuff for Scratch and make art there. I've also archived some audio recordings on here and hidden them in projects. I moved on from the Scratch account, so we won't talk about that much. Yeah, for my Twitch account, barely use it anymore. Yeah, the only times it does get used is by my brother when he plays Fortnite and records it. None of the streams are archived, so chances are you aren't missing out on much. I also have video games on my computer, so maybe I'll use that in the future. I have Team Fortress 2, Brawlhalla, BattleBlock Theater, Among Us, Fall Guys, Tabletop Simulator, and Minecraft. Had to create an Epic Games account to download Fall Guys on here. I also have Discord, which I rarely use but have an app for, and a little server. If anyone would like to talk to me on there, or give me recommendations on what to do there, feel free to. I even created this little movie theater channel, which I could use to do movie nights there. Don't expect it to happen yet. And the only times I would use Reddit is to post art on there and look at stuff for advice. And I would also use it to check out creepypastas for narration. I've taken a break from narrating creepypastas, so moving on. Tapastic and Webtoon. Those two comic publishing websites. The only reason I'd use them anymore is to publish comic strips. Let's continue. I have two fanfiction accounts, fanfiction.net and AO3. Once again, mainly to sharpen my writing skills and to write about stuff I actually like. Don't expect masterpieces there. Freesound, which I use to upload audio there that are not creepypasta narrations. I used to upload narrations as in audio form on Newgrounds and SoundCloud. More so the former than the latter because I ran out of free audio space to upload on SoundCloud, and I would need to pay a subscription to upload more. And Newgrounds just didn't work out for me. I tried to upload an archive in creepypasta narration I have yet to upload. It had background music in it, and I thought, yeah, nothing wrong with it. It got taken off for copyright, so I decided no more uploading creepypastas on there. I've also found a new home for them anyway. Patreon, where I can upload audio files of uncut versions of the soundtracks and final cuts for the videos. You still have to wait a little while for that. I've said it once and I'll say it again. criticalcommons.org. Basically this pseudo YouTube website where people upload a bunch of niche stuff. I used it to basically upload stuff that I doubt they would care enough to copyright or take down, because the place isn't YouTube and they encourage uploading other stuff. Within reason. I mainly used it to archive some old stuff like a Fortnite animated video, as well as 2 Mr. Nightmare videos. I've also uploaded some of them on archive.org, the Internet Archive. I also have Odyssey, which is basically another YouTube clone. Basically to archive everything on YouTube should YouTube go awry. And I've only seen 3 YouTubers or content creators I know using that website. There was Hugbees, there was SunnyV2, and there was Cinemassacre. And then there's Minecraft Skindex, which serves no real purpose other than to upload a character skin I made of one of my characters. And I have a fandom account and a Wikipedia site on there. It's not the first time I made one. I tried to create one a few years ago, but I was unhappy with it and deleted it. Not the entire Wikipedia thing, my account. And basically, I'm starting over from the top, mainly using it to archive my characters and work. That should be everything I need to say now. I just want to say thank you to anyone who watched this all the way through. And the ice cream truck is here.